Hi everyone, good afternoon. I hope I'm audible and visible. So if anyone is out there, then could you quickly tell me if I am audible and visible? That is the number one thing I want to know, whether I'm audible or visible. Also, if you're here, then can you quickly hit the like button and also share the session with your other friends or in your Telegram groups where people are, practicing and preparing for CAT 25. And also, I hope you have already subscribed to the channel, because if you haven't, then you'll not be able to participate in the chat. And we definitely want you to. So therefore, do subscribe. Quickly hit that bell icon also. Welcome to CAT 2025 Top 25 RCs. This is session number 20. My name is Abhilasha, and I'll be taking you through today's session also. Okay, so let's get started. Today's passage is based on the climate crisis, which is something that is very, very interesting and also very important for us right now. Okay, so before we begin, one quick announcement. So your last CAT before CAT happens on 16th of November, 8:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. The three CAT slots experience deja vu on CAT day with OpenCDC 4. You attempt the test in your actual CAT slot, nationwide benchmarking with aspirants across India, and you can experience the real exam setup at the offline centers, which is going to be so exciting. Now, if you haven't yet registered, I did make this announcement earlier also. Please register right away. All you need to do is go to this. You are here. You just have to scan this QR code. It says scan me. So please scan this QR code. You will be able to register for this test. If you have any other inquiries, you can always connect on our helpline number, that is 8130-038-836. Okay. I hope that's okay with all of you. Let's get started. Okay, so here is your passage for the day. Let's read this. So, environmental campaigners have accused New Zealand's government of full-blown climate denial after it slashed targets for reducing emissions of methane, a potent greenhouse gas that contributes to global warming. Imagine New Zealand government has, slash targets for reducing emissions of methane. New Zealand's right-leaning coalition government outlined plans on Sunday to reduce methane emissions by between 14 to 24% by 2050 compared to the 2017 levels. The previous target was between 24 and 47%, and they've just halved it. Farmers who had taken issue with the previous target, that means who were unhappy, taken issue means they were unhappy or they were protesting or they were angry, praised the move, but scientists and opposition parties criticized it as weak and unambitious. So scientists are unhappy. Greenpeace's New Zealand office said that policy shift amounts to full-blown climate denial. That means the government is denying this thing that there is a climate crisis. Amanda Larson, a climate campaigner with the environmental group, said Prime Minister Christopher Luxon was choosing corporate profits over our kids' future. Climate Change Minister Simon Watts said the government remains committed to our domestic and international climate change commitments, including net zero by 2050. So that's something that they are saying that they're committed. Who knows? Agriculture will continue to make an important and fair contribution to achieving this reduction, he said. The government also confirmed that it would conduct a legislated review of biogenic methane in 2040 and impose no tax on agricultural methane emissions due to the threat of farm closures. So they will not put any taxes on agricultural methane emissions because the farms would close, and that would be difficult. It would also invest New Zealand dollars 400 million, that is US dollars 230 million, in methane cutting technology. What said total agricultural emissions could fall up to 14% by up to 14% over the next decades if 30% of the farmers adopted technologies expected to be available before 2030. But Massey University climate mitigation expert Ralph Sims said there was no guarantee that scientific research would provide near-term solutions to biogenic methane, which include those belched out by the country's 5 million cows and 23 million sheep. Now, what do? These are animals and they are going to belch out methane, and then what do you do with that? Agriculture accounts for almost half of New Zealand's greenhouse gas emissions, according to government figures. Lawyers for Climate Action and Advocacy Group said that the reduced target risk tarnishing. Tarnishing means spoiling. Okay. New Zealand's international standing. Jocelyn Turnbull, a principal scientist at government-funded Institute Earth Sciences New Zealand, also said it could harm New Zealand's clean and green image. But Federated Farmers of New Zealand and agricultural lobby group said the change was long overdue. President Wayne Langford said previous methane reduction targets had been absolute madness. Now that's your passage. Very interesting. All about New Zealand and what it is doing. I hope you've been able to understand. Let's look at the questions. Here is the first question. What central tension does the passage highlight in New Zealand's revised methane problem policy? So what is the issue that is at crux here? The government's effort to balance industrial subsidies with the public health outcomes. Did we speak of industrial subsidy and public health outcomes? The opposition between technological optimism and immediate emission accountability. Okay. The dispute between environmental activists and fossil fuel producers, but fossil fuel producers were not really being discussed. The conflict between protecting agricultural interests and maintaining climate ambition. Now, I think clearly 1 and 3 are incorrect. Between 2 and 4, if any of you would like to take a guess, let's see. Let's look at option 2, the opposition between technological optimism, that you're expecting that technology will do well, and immediate emission accountability. But there is no immediate emission accountability. It is all till 2050. And that's why this one will be incorrect. So your correct answer will be option number 4, that there is a conflict between you want to protect the agricultural interests, but you also want to maintain climate ambition, and you want to make sure that those net zero targets are being achieved. So this conflict is what the passage is talking about, and therefore your correct answer. Let's look at the second question. According to the passage, what most accurately characterizes the government's approach to methane reduction? What is the government trying to do about methane reduction, and what statement represents it? A stringent plan based on mandatory herd size reduction and direct penalties. But did they have any mandatory herd size reduction and direct penalties? No. A science-led initiative grounded in proven methane elimination technologies. But did they say that they would do that? No. A cautious technology-dependent model avoiding economic disruption to farmers. Yes, they have said that if the given technology is adopted, then 30% of the farmers would use that technology, and then there would be a reduction also. So they're avoiding economic disruption to farmers, and they are using a cautious technology-dependent model. So 3 can be a choice. Look at 4, a market-based system linking carbon pricing directly to agricultural output. But they are not linking carbon pricing to agricultural output, and therefore 4 is incorrect. So the best answer here is option number 3, and that's going to be your answer. Question number 3, let's take a look. Which viewpoint contrasts most sharply with the farmers' endorsement of the policy changes? So the farmers are endorsing the policy change. They're saying, yes, let's have lesser of it, right? And what view is opposing this endorsement? Which view is saying that it is much less than expected? Scientists warning that research may not yield prompt methane mitigation solutions. Well, okay, this could be one. The climate minister's assurance of New Zealand's commitment to net zero goals. Now, if the government is assuring net zero goals, the farmers is saying that we must have reduced emissions, but not as many reduced emission targets. Okay, so I'll put a star on this. The Prime Minister's argument that agricultural profits sustain, but this is actually supporting the farmers. So this cannot be my answer. Legal experts suggestion that weaker targets protect national competitiveness. Well, this is also supporting the farmers. So I have two options which support the farmers, 3 and 4. Therefore, those cannot be the right answer. The farmer is endorsing the policy change, and the policy change is a much lower reduction of biogenic methane, right? So which of these will contrast most sharply with the farmer's endorsement? Scientists warning that research may not yield. Please understand, when you say may not yield, it is not saying anything. It may yield also. So therefore not this. So best answer will be option number 2. All right, let's look at question number 4. Good afternoon, Sudhir. The article implies means it is an inferential question. Okay, that long-term risk of New Zealand's policy lies primarily in, okay, what is the risk in its policy? Relying on unproven technologies whose success in cutting emission remains uncertain. Enforcing strict environmental tax that could force farmers, but they are not doing it. They have not enforced strict environmental taxes. They have not. Emphasizing methane control measures more heavily than carbon dioxide strategies. But this comparison between the methane control and carbon dioxide strategies is not mentioned in the passage. So it is just out of scope for us. Expanding global agricultural trade to maintain the nation's economic reputation. Again, that also they are not doing. So the best answer here will be option number 1. Okay. All right, so that brings us to the end of our passage. Let's take a look at some announcement. CAT 25 Power 30. Don't risk your last phase, guys. Everything you need to be CAT ready. 15 sectional tests, 15 sessions, 15 CDC mocks, 315 topic tests, strategy sessions, and doubt support. Enroll right away in the Power 30. That's your last phase. If you wish to do that, all you need to do is scan this QR code and you will be taken to the enrollment phase. Okay, do that. All right, if you have any questions, feel free to ask if you wish to ask now. If you do not wish to ask now, you can always drop a comment in the chat box, or you can call up our inquiry number 8130038836. All right, thank you so much, everybody. I hope you've already hit the like and share button and also subscribed. If you haven't yet done it, just do it right away. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. I'll see you on. Oh, by the way, yeah. So 2 announcements. So the next session will happen on Friday. Okay. At 1 p.m., which is your CAT RC. And the NMAT session. So this is CAT RC, which is happening on Mondays and Fridays, 1 p.m. And the NMAT session is happening on Fridays at 8:30 p.m. So do make sure you're joining in. Okay. All right. That's it, guys. Thank you so much from my end. Bye-bye. See you next Friday.